So hello and welcome to episode 25 of I'm Fine, a chat between myself, Damo, and someone with the biggest heart I know. It doesn't make him any more caring, he just literally has a massive heart. Mark, hello.
Oh yeah.
It's a chat around the subjects of health, wealth, well-being, fitness, sport, conspiracy, and getting stuff done. No dilly-dallying, shilly-shallying, lollygagging. We're all work in progress and this podcast is no exception. In short, it's a poke at our perfectly imperfect lives. And if we can make just one person feel like they're not alone in all this madness, then our work here is done. Warm up and stretch. Some bookmarks and apologies again. Work-Life Ballet, Mark's Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah.
Very excited.
A dip back to the 70s.
My bags are packed and I'm ready to go. And Joff will give me 20. I went for a bike ride. There we are.
Breaking news.
Yeah. How are you? All right?
Yeah, thank you.
Good.
Nothing more to add, I suppose. Sometime, I don't know quite when we're going to do this, but I'm going to make you feel better and calmer.
Okay. Would you want to do that now?
You can do it now if you like.
Yeah, why not? Then I can be relaxed for the episode.
Okay. So turn your chair and face me. So first thing we're going to do is feet on floor, bum on chair.
Fock bock.
Fock bock. One of the things, just health warning, I guess, is that just because I'm suddenly discovering mindfulness doesn't mean that I'm the Dalai Lama and I'm able to produce, take you to a different spiritual level. However,
don't worry about that.
Okay. Yeah, my apology. I did this today and it really worked for me. And I just thought, going back to the bit about helping one person, it worked for me. So one of the things we're going to speak about, or I'm going to speak about in the next podcast, is something around how the brain works and the different bits of the brain. Been learning some new stuff that I hadn't realised before. Yeah, really interesting stuff. So one of the things, there is quite a lot of scientific evidence about sitting in this way. Mm-hmm. So sitting in a fairly relaxed way. One of the things that tends to happen as well is when you ask people to do this, quite often is to put your hands palm up on your top of your thighs. Your feet are flat to the floor.
Does that open up your chest?
It's really just,
it feels like it opens
it's
up.
To stop you, I think it's almost to stop you, if your hands are the other way or underneath, then you're aware of feeling the material on the chair or tapping something or feeling hot and cold. If they're just there, it's quite a neutral position. Mm-hmm. The other thing as well is about, and it's really funny when people say this, is just now drop your shoulders. And you suddenly realise...
I think yeah.
They were still dropped there. You're still holding some tension. Okay. Not you, but one is holding one tension. So we're sitting fairly upright. And these were just these little tips I heard today, and it made a big difference. Some people do this with their eyes shut or just with your gaze down, but it's almost better not to have sort of extraneous distractions. So I tend to have it with my eyes shut, but some people feel uncomfortable for that. And the little tips that I got today, you just breathe at whatever speed feels good for you. It isn't about slow and deliberate breathing. But the in-breath is as if you were smelling a flower, and the out-breath you make a little bit longer, and it's as if you're gently blowing out a candle. But the key thing that this person told me today is that on the out-breath, feel the out-breath in your solar plexus, or your diaphragm. Mm-hmm. So it's not from your throat and from your mouth. Your breathing out is from lower inside your body. And so literally, it's just...
It's like engaging your core, but breathing out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. I'm just going to describe what I'm doing. So it's basically when I'm breathing in now, it's going to be smelling the flower. And as I breathe out, then my breath out is going to be slightly longer and deeper into my diaphragm. And then the thing that we've mentioned before, which I think again is key on this and which is my personal anchor point, is that restfulness between the two. So that when you do breathe out, there's that period before you breathe in again of just total still and calm. Mm-hmm. I think when you're in this position, you can just focus on that. And this can be like a 10-second or a 30-second breathing exercise. And I think it's, by its very nature, it's calming. But what I found now is by having this smelling a flower, blowing out a candle, because I visualize stuff so much, this now feels a really complete half minute of breathing.
But also it's just a slightly more intensive experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when you sniff a flower, you don't just breathe normally next to it. You take I took a little bit of a...
Yes, it's a little bit longer and it's a little bit more deliberate.
Well, it's considered you're trying to do something. You're not just breathing air, are you? Yeah. And then and then that bit about blowing a candle out, it's a little bit more exertion than you normally would.
Yeah, and it's the bit about blowing it out slowly. It's that little bit about bending over.
So it's not breathing normally. It's not deep breaths. It's a nice kind of thing in the middle.
Yeah. So anyway, that just really
feel- I
worked.
feel
And if people go away and try it, I've been doing a lot of breathing work, and that particular, those two little cues just made that.
That's nice. And you can do it before you start work. Open
Yeah.
the laptop up while it's booting up. You can just do that, couldn't you?
Yeah. Instead of staring at it,
Yeah.
willing it to start
To
up.
be quicker.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's the takeaway. Yeah. When you open your laptop.
Well, I think with the coffee, and I did it again this morning. While it was making a coffee, I did. Although the press ups were a bit harder this week, but I did that today. And then you think all the dead time we have.
Yeah.
Why can't you just try something different?
Yeah.
And it could even be when you get off the toilet. You've done all your bits and pieces. Why don't you just try and stand up on one leg?
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've got your trousers around your ankle, it might be a bit more difficult, mightn't it? But do you know what I mean? All those little things, those little that we do all the time. Why can't we just turn that into something a little bit?
My biggest dead time, and I know we were talking last time, unless you edit this out, about me trying to continue to be a parody or a cliche of myself. One of the things that annoys me, and I need to be more mindful of, is that if I've plugged in my phone to charge, so it's gone to 0 and I've run out of battery, I will press that button on the side in the hope that I will then see the little white apple turn up and means it's taken the charge.
Okay.
But I will stay with my phone as if like my presence, the same way as hitting a lift button 18 times makes it come quicker.
Yeah.
But I think that does tend to happen because of this now society, is you plug in your Apple phone and I can feel negativity like, this should be instant. In this day and age, I should put the charger in and it should charge my battery. There shouldn't be a delay. Instead of walking away and doing a bit of mindful breathing, doing some press-ups, I'm still fascinated, or I'm still drawn to my phone.
Yeah.
Like waiting for it to do what I've asked it to do.
Yeah. But it's like everything's become that, hasn't it?
Yeah. Instant gratification.
Yeah. And we're just into that habit. That was nice. I like that.
Good.
Thank you.
Maybe give me, or if you do try it a few times, just let me know if it works.
I'll try it.
It's a little bit hard with a microphone up your nose and a...
That's a real... That's like heavy breathing for our listeners. It might attract a new audience. Who knows? No, I think having little things you can do, that really is a small step. We all breathe.
Yeah. And the scientific bit, which I'm going to go into next week, gives a much bigger explanation of the feet on the floor. It isn't just some yogi has decided that this is what we're going to do. The aspect of your brain that's affected by it.
And we talked about pirates a couple of episodes ago. And about and all those claims that Bristol's invented everything.
Yeah.
All the pirates, all the sport,
or
all the cider.
As Amelia, and I might have got this wrong, she might, if she does listen to this, I'm sure she's saying she did a school project on Isambard Brunel Ford, because there's a garage in Bristol called Brunel Ford.
Of course.
And instead of giving him his full name, she mixed his name with the name of the garage.
Oh, very good.
But yeah, he's one of our own, isn't he? He's one of our
One
Bristol.
of our
So
own.
what did
He's one of our own. Isambard Kingdom Brunel. It's a bit long.
Yeah.
He's one of our own.
IKB maybe. But yeah, so
he's-
he obviously invented bridges for the Clifton Suspension Bridge. He invented boats and ships with the SS.
broad gauge railway, which
Yep.
unfortunately didn't catch on. If it had done, we would have been, we'd be definitely further on,
Yeah.
because we would have been able to carry more freight and more passengers and more of everything.
We've been home. We invented giants, as you well know,
Oh yes, true.
from your company, which has alluded to it.
Very true.
Um,
Everything is pretty much starts here.
So what was your going point? That we invented pirates?
Well, there was really famous pirate. Well, you said, who did you say we?
Long John Silver?
Yeah, I don't think it was.
No.
Um,
You don't think he was what?
I don't think he was invented
Okay.
by Bristol.
Okay.
But I did look up a pirate who was, and a pirate everybody's heard of, Blackbeard.
Pirate radio. Okay. So was he Bristolian?
So how did the man born Edward Teach in 1680 become to be better known as Blackbeard? Do you want to know? All right.
Yeah.
He would stuff smouldering fuses into his fearsome dark beard to create terror in his enemies and crew alike. This famous Bristolian captured a vessel called Concord on its way to the Caribbean and renamed it Queen Anne's Revenge. But that was just the start of his diabolical reign. Love that. He and his several hundred followers went on to capture untold numbers of vessels, stripping them of treasures and making many a sailor walk the plank. He travelled far and wide, terrorising the east coast of America and the Caribbean, and always ensured his own crew remained fearful and obedient by occasionally shooting one of his most loyal lieutenants in the leg.
Just to keep them on their toes.
Yeah.
Is that why they had wooden legs, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
He shot them off.
Just to keep them on their toes. I'm surprised they had any toes left. When the Navy finally caught up with him in 1718, he died during a fierce and bloody battle, and his head was displayed on that ship that captured him.
They should have put it on the hatchet door.
Yeah.
With the bell on his nose.
That's good. But his name and terrifying legend lives on.
2 interesting bits there. Concorde.
Yeah.
Well, obviously the plane that was built in Filton.
That's a good point. I didn't even...
I always thought Concorde was like, is it Concordia?
Don't know.
I thought Concorde was, I don't know, I thought Concordia was a thing and Concorde was named after that. But if Concorde was named after a beard that shot people, loses some of its romanticism.
Yeah.
But his ship was called Harmony. Well,
no, he renamed it.
Yeah, but it was, first off, it was
Oh, yeah.
Concorde, which means harmony.
Yeah, and he changed it to Queen Anne's Revenge. I thought he would have gone for a bit of a more gnarly name.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Good use of gnarly, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the first. I mean, maybe the harmony was that we built it in partnership with the French, didn't we? It was an Anglo-French. We.
Yeah. No, you're right. It was.
So yeah, another thing, Bristol. I mean, we did most of it. I think the French just did the catering.
Yeah, and the wine.
Yeah. And the insolence of the cabin crew. Yeah, we did all the proper bits.
Did you ever go on Concorde?
No.
There goes that. Well, really hoping you might have
I could lie.
No.
It's probably too late to say that now. I said no, isn't it?
Well,
actually, no, I remember.
I did fly to New York in 5 hours one day. Yeah.
So that was, and then I think the second thing is that maybe it's interesting, the romanticism. You know, we've just been joshing about someone that...
I was just, it was awful. Yeah. That is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, Somalian pirates don't get the same press that Blackbeard does.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
But we're there going, look at him, he's shooting his friends, bless him.
Leg. It's hilarious.
He's Bristolian, that's what they do.
They probably had a good old, laugh afterwards, didn't they?
Yeah.
Banter lads. I've got an apology. The 5 Ps.
Yeah.
Of perfect preparation prevents piss poor performance. But, of course, for all the astute people out there, that's 6. I looked it up, and there is different versions. There's a 5, which is perfect preparation prevents poor performance.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 6, which is perfect preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Yeah.
But probably the more well-known one is the 7 Ps, which you are riveted, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which is a British Army adage for proper planning and preparation prevents piss poor performance. Now, I think it's a little bit too long. A little bit too wordy, but apparently that still remains today.
Okay,
as a thing they all
shout as they go into battle.
Yeah, which pretty much that whole thing just covers the idea of if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. A little lesson for us all there. Work-life ballet. So this week we were training.
Yes,
and you went, "Here's one for you. I got one for you, Damo."
Here's a tsunami of thought.
Yeah. And it was really good.
It was.
I got quite excited about it. It was one of those ones I was like, yeah, and there's that, and then that means, and there's that comparison, there's that analogy, and that could mean, it was really good.
It does. And we went on for a bit, and it made sense, and it seemed good, and we thought, we'll capture it.
Bottle it.
And now we're floundering like a sardine on a beach.
Yeah.
I'll kick off.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon we'll get back there.
Let's do it.
But
let's just not feel any pressure.
Yeah.
Let's try and recreate.
No judgment. Feet on floor. Let's see, I crossed my legs.
I've done it already, yeah.
Not even in the position.
Let's
right.
Fock.
So I'm going to start off with the analogy that I used, which was mystery coach tours of the 1970s. My gran and granddad lived in a little seaside resort called Burnham-on-Sea, which occasionally I would visit to stay with them, and I have visited since. It has a very large concreted section. It is very Eastern European. If you ever want to go down there, part of the seafront is basically just concrete.
Right.
Someone made a decision back in the day.
Okay.
So that's just setting the scene of Burnham-on-Sea. But Burnham-on-Sea on the seafront had a coach firm. And I can remember going down there with my gran and looking at all the places you could go to. So there was a trip up to Bristol or a trip across to Wales, trip down to Minehead. Just little. I can see everybody now in America and the Ukraine going,
and
Minehead. And on the menu of coach trips, sort of about half, 3/4 of the way down, in slightly different font, there would be mystery coach trip. This is exactly what it says on the tin. You would not be told where you were going. So you would turn up, it would tell you what time you're leaving and what time you're coming back. Yeah. There was a couple of flaws in this. One was that the price for the mystery trip would be the same as the price saying Minehead, which is 50 miles. So you know you're going 50 miles and you're not going to Minehead. So you could work out basically where you were going.
Yeah.
But the mystery trip literally was you would pay for your ticket, get on the coach and not know where you were going. As an idea, I think I was split. As a child, it seemed quite exciting that you were just letting your whole destiny being decided by some guy with a cigarette and a funny hat. That is the story of my childhood. And I've done some reading and some research since we trained, and a lot of coach firms are saying it was their biggest seller.
Right.
And even one coach firm said if times were getting a bit hard, they would put on extra mystery ones to just fill coaches. One coach owner said we actually decided where we were going on the morning.
So even the staff didn't know, just to keep it spicy.
They were doing it because if they were going, if the mystery...
Well, God forbid everyone leaked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess if you were going to... your mystery trip was to the coast and the weather forecast was for hurricane and tidal waves, it might be better to go to a museum. I've been thinking about this, and as I said, one or two things I've looked at, these are still being run today. So this was £89.89. This is, bearing in mind we're in lockdown, taking a mystery coach trip in lockdown is a bit of a...
This is right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is for a couple of months' time. I think this is January, so it's booking ahead.
Is this the same... So this is the tour company?
Not the same one from back in the 70s, but this is their 2020 equivalent.
Where are these guys based?
These guys are based up north. We start with a local departure by coach. I think that's sort of self-explanatory. You're going on a coach trip, but that's fine.
You know where you are.
And also, local departure is only local if you live there.
Yeah.
It'd be easier to say the coach leaves from...
Well, I mean, it's thorough. Not saying
well, no, even that's
leaving
mystery.
From somewhere random.
Yeah.
It's
so you're booking a holiday. Where does it leave from? Locally. It's a coach
where we're
locally.
based.
Yeah. It's for you to know.
Rather than we're coming to pick you up.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. You find your way to our secret destination, speech marks, where accommodation is reserved for the night in rooms with private facilities.
This is sounding a bit seedy already.
A hotel room. Dinner is included is in bold. And you have a choice of 2-star or 3-star. I'm guessing if the price is the same, everyone's going to go for the 3-star.
Yeah.
So that's day one. So you find your way to a local base. We're not going to give you the address.
Yeah.
You're going to go in a coach.
Yeah.
You go into a room with facilities.
You're driving to a hotel with facilities.
Private.
Okay.
It basically means you got your own bog, doesn't it?
Yeah. You're not sharing a toilet.
Dinner is included. That's day one. Day two. So far, you're being driven to a hotel that isn't going to be very good.
Yeah.
And you're going to stay there. On day two, after a hearty breakfast, we have a short sightseeing excursion before continuing our journey home. And I love the word continuing. It's like... It's not really selling it, isn't it? So you're going to a hotel. You're going to have dinner. We're going to take you somewhere very quick.
Yeah.
We're not going to give any clues what it is. Sightseeing could be looking out of the windows of the coach.
Yeah, right.
And then I love that the person that's written this has obviously been, I reckon they've probably got their own podcast. Have a short sightseeing excursion before continuing our journey home, arriving back later on.
That day, assuming.
Just says arriving back later on. Like the most meaningless thing.
Yeah.
You are going to arrive back. So
at some point,
rest assured, you've got a room. You don't have to share anything. You will get fed and brought back to the local departure point. In bold, this break is bound to prove popular and early booking is strongly recommended. So I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
If in January we could do this.
We should do it.
And we could podcast from the back seats where all the popular kids are.
No.
It would be quite exciting. I'm sort of thinking, I wonder where they're going.
I do, yeah.
The hotel is going to be rubbish.
So, but this is a northern firm, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's the same as anywhere else in the country.
The north?
No, that
No, it's 20 years behind.
the coach firm. There's going to be coach firms
Yes.
near here that
Yeah.
will do the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we could do that. I don't want to travel up north. That's all
No.
I'm saying.
It'd be a coach
Just to
trip
come
to get to coach, and it wouldn't be a local departure.
It's like going to Birmingham and having a day out in Bristol. It's not something I want to do. It feels.
Okay, so this was the analogy. The analogy I was trying to make was, I think there's, and I'm only speaking from anecdotal experience of clients I'm working with, and one or two people I've been speaking to. And I don't want to go against what we've been saying about just have tiny ticks, just have little steps, just take it. I'm not going against that. What I'm saying is that there might be a stage that you get where the journey and the destination aren't linked. So if we take the mystery coach ride, as we were saying when we were training, how do you know when you've arrived? So if your coach stops off at a service station, that could be your destination because you've signed up for something basically for the journey.
Yeah.
You haven't signed up for the destination because you don't know what the destination is.
Yeah.
If they take you to a rubbish tip or a nuclear, waste facility, you're going, well, that's fine. I've signed up for a mystery. So I was trying to use this analogy with training, and that some people at the moment, the journey is all that matters. And I think this is what I'm saying about the steps. What I'm finding is people are not coming to me saying, I want to do a session to see if I can beat my personal record in squats. I'm not getting runners coming to me saying, I'm going to up my training. I'm trying to get a PB in the 5K. No one is saying that. And I'm not saying that there aren't people out there.
Yeah.
Sure. We talked about elite sportsmen, last week. What I'm saying is I think there is a groundswell of opinion that the journey is maybe more important than the destination at the moment.
As a general feeling, you mean?
As a general feeling within society.
A bit of limbo, but no man's land.
Yes.
Hard to plan.
Yes.
Hard to look forward to anything at the moment.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And this isn't about this is the new normal, and this isn't doom and gloom, and this isn't, because of the pandemic, I can't do anything. You can still do stuff.
Yeah.
But I think there's almost like an air of let's just have a degree of maintenance. Let's have a degree of being on a journey of physical fitness or eating well, not necessarily breaking barriers, excelling. And I'm not saying people are sort of being mediocre or not having expansive goals and objectives. What I'm saying is at the moment there seems to be, if I can get the consistency in, if I can continue what I'm doing, finish the session and go, good, I've been moving, I've done this.
Yeah.
Much more so than I'm going to, everything's going to change. And I think it is reflecting what's happening in the outside world. And the reason I wanted to do the analogy with the coach trip was I was saying to you, someone I follow who I quite like had posted something yet again about, the 7 things you have to do for personal gains. And they talked about sleep and nutrition. And I'm thinking, there can't be anyone out there that doesn't know what we should be doing. I know what I should be doing, and I'm eating chocolate and crisps, and I'm not training how I used to. And I think it's got to the point, this isn't just a reflection of where I am, because I'm basing this on a lot of clients and other stuff I'm hearing, is that I think we need to give ourselves permission to realise that we're on the coach trip. We're just going to enjoy the journey. It isn't about going to an exotic destination of personal records. It's about enjoying the view, enjoying company of others where you can, sitting on a coach and not having this massive level of expectations that the mystery coach trip is going to take you to the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. It isn't going to, not for $89.95. And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Why I said at the beginning, I don't want this to be seen to undermine the small steps is you could say, well, if it's just the journey, then basically just turning up is the tick. And so I'm just going to give a very quick example of a group I allude to constantly on here of the WhatsApp group of the 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
And they won't mind me sharing. They both listen. We are struggling like fuck, this group. We are struggling. I had a Zoom session with one of the people in the group this week, and we were saying about setting achievable goals again. And I said, every meeting can't be a reset. We've got to have, we've got to know what that journey.
Was it a little bit like this has been coming for a while and
Yes.
you or you and someone else has gone, we just need to get a grip of this.
Yes.
We just need to
Yeah.
say it how it is.
Yeah.
We're all really struggling. We're on our asses here.
Yes.
Yeah. And we can't just keep doing it'll be better tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll be better next week. Or we need to get this done out the way before we do it. We need to get this sorted out.
Yeah. Or every conversation being about sorting something out and never sorting anything out.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's that activity isn't progress always. And when we had the discussion, it was really interesting. The person I was speaking to said something along the lines, well, we did set some goals and we did set those, fairly low, so they were achievable. And she went like about the half hour fresh air. And I went, but you didn't do it.
Yeah.
And her face was just sort of, no. So one of the interesting things that has come out of this group is that we are struggling to find our journey enough so that
the motivation even to maybe pick up the phone and...
Yes, we haven't booked the trip. All we've said is, wouldn't it be nice to sit on a coach?
So you're looking at the timetable.
Yeah.
You're all going, shall we?
Yeah. And then going, I don't think I can do 7:30. I'll see if they'll change it. So we weren't doing our 10,000 steps. And we were saying, I used the analogy, and you shouldn't do comparisons with other people or other things. And I think we had this discussion, and I was saying, like, in Africa, people walk 2 hours to get water from a well.
And it's not particularly nice water either. Yeah.
And yet we can't get out to walk,
Oh, I can't drink my litre of
water.
Yes.
Yeah. There's got to be the epitome of first world problems.
Yeah,
I'm unable to drink consistently.
Yeah.
And so why I'm using this group is that one of the members from the group last night just went, let's just walk 5,000 steps. And I've gone, yeah, let's.
Even if we chat about this in action, let's just walk 5,000 steps and talk about it.
Yeah,
right?
And 5,000. So let's get on the coach. 5,000 steps might be the local tip, but at least we're on a journey somewhere. Yeah. And so I think that's the analogy. And I'm not trying to stretch the analogy, but it's that thing around not aiming massively high, just trusting the process that something is going to get you somewhere. And it might not be the best coach trip in the world, and it might not be the fastest coach, but at least you're moving.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's good. The things I got from it was when you brought it up originally was about just giving yourself a break. I mean, the last podcast, you were just, giving yourself a bit of a hard time.
Yeah, I think you're going to edit about 3/4 of the hard time out, when it's going to bring a lot of people down.
Yeah, but we do put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and you can't. It's hard to sustain those levels of just isn't it? And I think maybe off. You're right. Good grief. The head was going to explode.
Yeah, that was some sneeze. I'm not competitive. That was probably the best sneeze of the year. you can sneeze
for your
like
age
that.
group.
Yeah, it's personal best.
The fact that your journey is in the hands of the driver is very similar to your training regime, or your training journey is in the hands of your PT.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I took that. And I think that is good. But then sometimes, the driver will just go, where do you want to go?
Yeah.
I just drive the coach.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't have a go at me if you got on the bus and we went somewhere that you weren't happy with.
But that's trust the process. You've got to trust the driver. You've said to him, I'm in your hands.
No, but however, I think the point is if you've picked a mystery tour, there's no comeback.
No.
You can't just then go, I was very disappointed that we didn't go to the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. You have no comeback. You literally... I think for me, because I think some of the examples came up where people are either kicking themselves because they weren't getting the result, but they don't know what that result was. And how can you even begin to beat yourself up over that? And I think I don't know where you find it, but I think people probably put a lot of expectation on you to make their minds up for them, or give them some kind of, why didn't you do that? And it's
I'd agree with you and disagree with you in equal measures. Why I'd agree with you is that I'm sure there's going to be a few people who've listened to this and gone, you're the same person like me, who back in May and June were going, why aren't people getting out? This is a fantastic opportunity. Why aren't you training 4 times a week? Treat this as an opportunity. Yeah. What I'm reflecting, I think, is where society and a lot of people are at the moment. Yeah. For me, when you're saying that, I'm saying I'm agreeing and disagreeing with you in equal measures.
I'm not saying one thing. I was just
a PT,
things to think about.
But a PT is there like I said to you a couple of weeks ago when someone I was training said, I don't want to do anything jumpy. I'm just not going to do that exercise. I think what I'm doing now is saying I'm being more reflective that a PT isn't about come in, do a load of exercises that I've learned from a book, go home, eat these foods, do this, do that. What I'm doing is reflecting of where individuals are, where society is. And I think for the first time in my job, I think I'm putting my hands up and saying, everybody is getting worn down by this to a degree. And this isn't doom and gloom. This isn't like, oh, this is the end. But people are missing community. People are missing highs and lows. People are missing, loved ones. It's like the thing we said, you're not getting the news items of a dog on a skateboard. With that backing, everybody now, in the first lockdown, I didn't know anyone with COVID. I've got 8 clients who are either isolating or have got COVID.
Yeah.
It seems that I probably have it.
I've got 2 friends right now who've got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think it is a different position. And I think sometimes you need to reflect, or one needs to reflect the holistic world we live in and not go, I'm just here to get myself fit.
Yeah.
Because you're still working out hard. But I have slightly changed. So once or twice your exercises have been simplistic. Just come in, work hard and go home.
Yeah, but for a while we haven't, and I think this is another analogy that mystery tours, your mystery bus tour is fine for a bit.
Yeah.
There's got to be a point, and there's people who can go on them all the time.
Yeah.
And there's a lovely kind of idea to that, and sometimes I get a bit jealous of folk that can just kind of bumble along in life and just kind of, and that is fine. We're not saying that's wrong.
Contentment is a panacea, isn't it?
Yeah, if you can just get the enjoyment out of, just take
God,
all the stress. Yeah, I'd love to be able to, but not everybody is in that. So I think we have to, explain the balance.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that in a few weeks or a few months, you're going to come to me
I'm going to get a bit bored of the mystery tour.
Yeah, I want to go surfing. And then...
Yeah. A little bit further than Minehead. Can we get to Bude?
Yeah. But at the moment you don't?
No.
And I'm just gauging that, and I'm gauging most of the people I work with are happy.
Yeah. But I also know that you as a driver of my coach, of self-discovery and of progress, you aren't responsible for my happiness and my satisfaction. Do you know what I mean? In terms of your review. So it'd be completely remiss of me to go and write a review about how poor, about you were a bad driver because you didn't take me where somewhere I really enjoyed to go. That's kind of where my point.
Yeah, no,
but there's a point where I can't keep expecting you to. Even the driver will get bored. We all need that little bit of.
And then you'll come to me and say, "I want to go to Bude. I want to go surfing." I'm going to go right. I'm now going to drive faster. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to change the way. And your expectation will only be met if I take you to Bude. If I take you back to that shit hotel, then you've got reason to come back.
I think so.
Okay. I think analogy's been stretched to within an inch.
I think we've got another 45 minutes. We can keep this going. I liked it. And I think it might even come out. But also the last thing I wanted to say was it doesn't just apply to training, of course. You start to apply that. When you start to apply it to anything, work and any journey, destination, goals, targets, I think the whole thing can be applied. Yeah. And also that idea of who else is helping you on that journey. It might be a thing that you don't want to do. If you're self-employed, you might not need anyone to go and do that. But if you've got a team, then you've got lots of drivers, you've got lots of, staff, people cleaning the bus. So I've told you I'm going to keep going around with a little bin bag afterwards. Everyone's got their bit. I think, I don't know. As I said, I wish I could be that person that doesn't really kind of go, we went to the service station. That was as far as we got and it was mint. I was saying, got to Gordano services and had the best day ever.
I think contentment is way above happiness.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. Okay, that was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Thanks for the trip. I went on my bike yesterday. Oh, you know this, don't you? Because I
popped in,
socially distanced. Can we say that?
We're allowed a bubble.
Am I in your bubble? How many other people in your bubble?
It's like a bar of aero.
More bubbles than a bar of aero.
Well, we're socially distanced.
It was my first bike ride since the 7th of August.
Which is crazy, right?
3 months, yeah. That surprised me. I knew it was a while, but then when you work out when the last one was, it was... But the last trip I did do, the last cycle ride I did do was 258k over 2 days.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of... Because people are going, you had that long, but it's like, well, it doesn't take 3 months to recover from that.
No.
So that was not the reason for not going on my bike. I think like we all do, I think I got into for whatever reason, it's really hard to explain. I got into a funk about something I really love doing. Even if I was driving or just sitting here and seeing, my neighbour cycles a lot, used to be semi-pro, and he's out a lot, and I'm looking at him and I get that feeling of, I need to go and do that. I miss getting on my bike and then do absolutely nothing about it. And a bit what you were saying a minute ago about the state of you and you're in with your group, that kind of motivation.
Yeah.
It's such a simple thing, getting on a bike.
Well, I was going to say, it's like no
It's
preparation, is it? It's a helmet and just sit on your bike.
No, I mean, it's very simple in a way. That's the thing I put on the Instagram thing, was actually getting into my gear, because it's quite a thing to, especially in the winter, because you've got more stuff to put on, more base layers, and you have to cream your bits. You aware of that?
Well, I guess chaffing, is it?
Yeah. There's just things you have to do, and kind of all the layers, and then make sure you go to. There's nothing worse than putting all your cycle gear on, then needing the toilet, and you have to take it all off again. Yeah. But just getting into that gear, as soon as I was in my kit, I just went into that, get my drink ready, get the food ready, get my Garmin, all the things. You just then into the mode, and I think it's just a little bit of a tick. I think Mel Robbins uses the 5-4-3-2-1 thing, which is you take that time to think about what you're doing. And she even says, just get your gym kit on. Then you're more likely, just do that. And then you're more likely to go to the gym, which I think she's absolutely right on that.
Yeah.
So that really helped. Yeah. As soon as I got through the gate, 2 or 3 pedal strokes in, it was where I should be,
Which makes that gap all the more difficult.
Yeah. And I think I know that bit from here to the end of the road is the bit where I go, I always remember, this is why I like it. It's really weird. It's a really weird feeling. And I never, I'm kind of fairly new to cycling, I guess. In maybe last 3 years I've been doing it properly, but the bug is unbelievable. But I think the whole point of, the reason I don't understand why I didn't do it, it's a little bit of that feeling a bit low, eat something bad, feeling a bit low, don't go and do the things you like doing.
Yeah.
I won't go as far as saying self-harm, but it's along those lines.
Yeah.
It's probably the wrong terminology, but even I just think I'd sit there and go, why don't I do that? I know how much I like it when I'm on it. Like you said, apart from getting my clothes on, it's really not that difficult, and the bike's ready to go, and I haven't got to drive anywhere. Literally out the back of my gate, and off I go. So why can't I just find it?
I wonder whether,
and I'm not going to be the only one that has that.
No,
that thing.
I wonder whether, and I think this is a different conversation, but I'm just taking that bit where you said, and it isn't self-harm, you're right, it isn't self-harm, but it is self-denial.
Yeah.
So I know in my life there would be a range of things that would make me happy, and I can actively choose not to do them, but not have a clear reasoning to explain why. And I'm listening to you. And
how do we explain that?
In the basic psychological terms, you're saying, I like doing this activity. This activity is totally accessible to me, and there is no barriers stopping me doing this activity.
And it would get me out of this mood that I'm in right now.
However, one of your neural pathways has decided to deny you something that's going to bring you pleasure. And I think this goes a little bit back to our previous discussion around the coach trip. I think when you're surrounded by, well, I keep using the word doom and gloom, but it is, like the news and everything else.
But I like to think I've kind of, I have that at arm's length.
But yet you haven't done something we that you love.
No, I know, that's the thing. And it's not, it goes, I've mentioned the food thing. When I'm feeling as I've been feeling, I go to the things I know I shouldn't be putting in my mouth.
Yeah.
Food does.
Yeah.
For the record. But I do. I can't explain why. And I think I can't be the only person out there, but there is a direct correlation with mood and treating yourself badly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why can't I just be in a mood and eat and either not eat or just eat the right things? Yeah. I mean, by not eating, I mean don't eat the crap. I don't need it.
I'm a bit sad I'll have more broccoli. Doesn't happen, does it?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't explain it. Because some people go, why don't you just go and do that? And you're like, exactly. But why wouldn't I just do that?
We've had this discussion before that sometimes that mood cannot be. I mean, the mood can often be removed, or the feeling or the emotions can be removed by something even more destructive. Yes. That's often a route to take.
Yeah,
drugs and alcohol is a key one.
I mean,
me
eating crisps. I mean, I'd much rather be doing that than
cocaine.
I'm glad it's that, but it's still. And I can understand why, when you feel like, I can understand why people have serious issues with food,
Yes,
with drugs,
definitely.
with certain behaviour, destructive behaviour. I totally understand it. I still can't explain. And everyone has their own, I guess, versions of reasons for that. And some people might go, I know exactly why that happens.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
Or this happened in my life. It's made me sad, or it's made me go into this mood every once in a while. And that is why I can't do it, because I just feel so shit. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we were saying we
So
might touch on addiction, because the other thing about the piece of paper that we discussed before about the betting, I think I have some concerns in terms of the normalizing of addictive. There's a normalizing of activities that can easily lead to dire consequences. So what's happened is society as a whole has minimized or blurred the focus around things that are potentially dangerous. And I mentioned a few podcasts ago about seeing an advert for gin at 4 PM, and you're going, that's because people are drinking gin at 4 PM. Of course they're going to do it.
Yeah.
There was an advert for Bacardi at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Was there?
Yeah.
There's a point when I used to work at the co-op when I was in my late teens, you couldn't sell booze until 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. I think now you can buy it all around the clock, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I can remember it. I can remember once I went into a pub on Easter Sunday and they kicked us out at 2, because Easter Sunday you couldn't drink between 2 and 8, and it's like,
right.
Yeah, that was some strange, religious, from religious background.
Yeah.
I think the point I'm saying is we touch on addiction quite a lot, and we had a little quick discussion about this. In that, I feel I don't want to go into massive details, but I've had a lot of dealings with the subject of addiction in a whole number of different situations. And I think one of the reasons why I read that piece of paper out wasn't just that it was knocking my football team and promoting someone else, although that was part of it. It was just getting something through the door that's basically saying, right, I think it was even different from seeing, say, the adverts between a football match where they go, who's going to be the next goal scorer? And that almost seems, although I feel it's wrong, you can go, well...
But what they're also doing, I don't think they did it very well. Because if the guys from Facebook were in charge of that, they'd have tapped into your anticipation level and your dopamine.
Yeah.
The compulsion loop.
Yes.
They'd have literally smashed that into you, wouldn't they?
Yes.
In terms of the copy.
Yes.
It's bad copy if you want to get someone to go in onto the Mansion Bet website and place a bet.
Yeah.
Right?
But it was interesting you were saying is gamble aware there. One of the things
just because that's on the bottom doesn't make that any more acceptable.
No. It's like we're promoting it and it's almost going, and you're going to get into problems. So here's...
It's the get out of jail free card, isn't it? Sticking that on the bottom.
It's like energy companies being expected to send stuff about how to insulate your house. Why would they want you to insulate your house? Yeah. Also, why would betting companies want you not to bet?
It's just...
I think the point I'm making about it is that when you have a piece of paper that had a lot of writing on it, and I read that, to make out that they're my mates down the road, and by the way, when you log on, we're going to give you some free money. They're only giving you free money because of the amount of money they're going to take off you.
Yeah, of course.
That escalated quickly.
It did, didn't it?
Where did that start on?
me on my bike. God,
like I said, let's keep this one quite light-hearted.
That's what I thought me pootling around on my bike was going to be. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, goodness and light.
Taking a photo with its pedals in the right position.
Yeah, I didn't do that, did I? I realised there's a couple of things I do on my bike which I hadn't noticed I did, but I think that it's out of talking about lack of self-preservation with my health. And there's actually, when I'm on my bike, there's lots of things I do to keep me alive. And one of the things is looking at wing mirrors of parked cars. I don't know where it's come from. No one's told me to do it, but I've realised I do it. So if I'm coming up and overtaking a line of parked cars, I'm looking where I'm going, but I'll have one eye, or both, on the wing mirrors. Because I realised that, one, if you can see people in their car in a wing mirror. In
case the door opens.
Yeah, so obviously there's more likely for them, the chance that they're going to open the door. And then sometimes, which I had yesterday, their body position moves. It all happens really, really quickly just before you open the door. Or some people, as you should do,
look.
Yeah, look. Okay, you're in the driving seat of your car. Which hand do you use to open your door?
Probably my right. Yeah,
which is nearest the door. But if you open with your left,
forces you to move your body position.
To move and then look as you open. So it's a little thing, but I'm not sure everybody does it. But lots of people will just swing the door open.
Yeah.
If you're doing 20 mile an hour on a bike, I do not want to hit a car door. If I'm going to hit one, I'd rather it be open fully. than getting it right on the end.
Yeah.
But you can see people's bodies. So that happened to me yesterday. I managed to kind of slow down, just move out, and this guy just the transit just opened his. So I noticed I do that. But I think anyone who's on a bike, that isn't a bad thing to do. Just be aware of, if you can, without obviously keeping your eye on the road. I've also noticed that the lockdown bike lanes that they've still got in Bristol are horrendously dangerous.
Yeah.
I'd seen them, driven past them, and yesterday I experienced, because I thought, right, I'll time my trip to the office in case I need to go start cycling to the office, which I want to do. Time that. I carried on down White Ladies onto Park Row, and that's when the bollards
I've seen that one, yeah.
So first of all, for anyone who isn't on a bike or is on a bike, the area of the road on the left-hand side nearest the pavement, a good 3 or 4 foot of that is normally the worst piece of road on the road.
Cobbles, drains,
everything, all the shit that everybody either misses or... So basically, they've cordoned off the road, basically created bike lanes, made it worse for traffic because you get less cars in there, and they think they're doing a favour to everyone in lockdown who was using their bike. Yeah. What that's done is forced everyone into the shittiest part of the road, and then you're basically going along, and you can't move out the way for a curb and the bollard.
No.
So if you go to avoid a dirty great pothole, you've either got to stop, and if you've got someone behind you, that's
or hit
trouble.
the curb,
or try and navigate you out through the bollard.
Yeah.
The motorists are going, I'm completely safe and protected, but so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And not expecting a cyclist to pop out between the bollards. It's just made a whole...
How many cyclists did you encounter in the cycle lane?
Absolutely none whatsoever.
It's the middle of November.
Yeah. And they've left them up. They've left them up since, April time?
Yeah. Yeah. And as a cyclist to go...
They are put there by clearly no one who's ever been on a bike.
Yeah.
It's not cool. It's really not cool.
Can I ask you a question? You know... I'm doing loads of questions.
It's a bit of a whinge, that is, but
that's okay.
If any town or city is trying to encourage people to get on their bike, that's the last thing. Then go and have a look at the roads. You just got to get on your bike and get on there. They're lethal.
Is the difference? I mean, I've been to Holland a few times, and is the difference between a cycle lane, which is a lane made for cyclists and paved for cyclists and marked for cyclists, against what's happening in Bristol, which is a side of the road which is for wastewater and lorries.
Absolute drainage.
So you've been given the drainage area, which is always going to be the wettest and the iciest.
Stones, all the crap that comes is all washed. And,
also very close to pedestrians. I noticed that one on Park Row. You're almost sort of, if anyone's waiting to cross the road, you're pretty close to them.
Yeah. It's really bad. Sorry, was that what you're going to
ask? No, the question I was going to ask was around... I'm going to keep going on about this, parodying myself. I've got to get out of judgmental thinking. I'll go and do some mindfulness.
Oh, go on, let it go.
No, I can't.
Go on, let rip.
So the question was, I think we have a very, very different attitude towards risk. And my attitude towards risk is cavalier. So I would say...
Do you think about getting on your bike and doing the route I've just
I'm going to do it now. I'm going to wait till it iced up. And I'm going to do it on a penny farthing. That's going to have so much, like nearly all the listeners going, oh, penny farthing.
Yeah.
Look it up. No, I was going to say about attitude towards risk. I would say I put my seatbelt on 95% of the times after I've pulled away.
Yeah.
I wondered what your... So I'll get in the car.
Mr. Edgy over here.
I would drive. I'll get the beep going, beep, beep. Like, put your seatbelt on.
Ignore it.
I'll ignore it, and then it goes beep, 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 and then I put my seatbelt on. What a ridiculous prick, really. It isn't that I then don't put it on.
You're playing the car, aren't you?
But there's 150 metres of me going...
I think it's the fact you don't
I'll
like
do
a
as I'm
machine
told.
telling you.
I'll decide when I'm going to crash. I just wonder, I imagine your seatbelt goes on.
You must have a fancy car that the beep gets louder.
Yeah. And I think there's probably like something underneath angry. Going, put it on, put it on. It's like the livid on the Amazon Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put yours on though, wouldn't you?
I normally put it, don't get me wrong, I've driven off just down the, then put it on.
But as a general rule.
Yeah, I think so.
Clunk click every trip.
Talking about safety, headphones while cycling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, lots of people go running with headphones on. Not really very dangerous, but it could be if they're not, crossing the road, not looking properly. But I thought it was kind of frowned upon, but I don't think it is. And I looked into it because I like the idea of having, if you're going for long bike rides, because I did the Cornwall trip without anything in my ears. So it's a long time, probably about, I don't know, how much cycling, 12, 13 hours of cycling. That.
I'd have problems.
So yesterday, I mean, guess what I listened to on my bike?
self-indulgence, I would imagine.
Yes, I listened to us.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd give a podcast a go, and it is a revelation. I've tried music before, it didn't really work.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to run before with music, don't like running, but those two just didn't go. But podcasts are brilliant. Two reasons. One is a bit like in the car, I just kind of listen to it and switch off. Two, I can still hear traffic because it's not like a constant amount of noise.
Yeah.
But I looked it up. There's a study done by Dr. Katrina Jung-Nickel and Dr. Rachel Aldred found that the use of music in headphones actually helped create a sensory strategy that enabled cyclists to cope with riding in dangerous environments.
Okay.
The research was conducted on urban cyclists and showed that they were just as aware of their surroundings, if not more so, than other transport users, and engaged in sensory strategies that managed their exposure to risk. I wasn't expecting that. I was going to be like, don't just listen out and have your wits about you. But just as drivers use radio to create a safe, social and comfortable space on the road, it is possible to interpret cyclists' sensory strategies as ways of negotiating and taming challenging environments. Outside of the chaotic and urban environment, music may also play a major part in increasing your fitness when incorporated into training. We haven't talked about music in training for a while.
No.
It can boost your ability to ride harder, faster, and with more enjoyment. And according to Dr. Kostas Karageorgis of Brunel University, one of the world's most foremost experts in sports psychology, music is effectively a legal performance-enhancing drug. And there's probably loads more on that.
It is
might
interesting when
be safer for you.
My first thought was, distracting. And then you say, like, people having radios in their cars, and I have my radio on really loud, and or Spotify on really loud, and no one goes, "Oh, car drivers shouldn't listen to music." But somehow, because there's like a pair of earbuds in, that cyclists, it's almost perception of where the music's coming from. Somehow, they've got it. You've got it in your ears. Yeah,
because I always heard that you shouldn't drive a car with headphones in or on.
Yeah,
but right, if you turn the stereo, well, what's the difference?
Yeah.
But
maybe that just is a perception that somehow, it's just filling your brain, filling your head, whereas a car radio is just filling the space.
I think I felt more engaged yesterday with that in, rather than just, you said, having that problem of, oh God, just got, my own thoughts in my head driving me. Maybe you then drift off and you become less engaged with what you're doing. No, mate, not at all.
In terms of headphones at the track, it's part of the sprinters wear far too many clothes, like layers upon layers of clothes.
Right.
Always a hoodie and a hat, no matter what the weather is, and headphones, and hardly run at all, and basically strut around the track, feeling that they're better than everyone else. And the distance runners do lap after lap of really hard work.
Yeah.
Don't have time to listen to music. And I've noticed...
Well, they do, but they don't, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They have loads of time, but they just choose not to.
Yeah, because they're concentrating on what they're doing. And I know some people on park runs and things like that listen to music, but distance runners at the track don't, because they're listening to their coach as well. But the sprinters, even when the sprinters in the summer, when we don't have headphones, someone will always bring a big Bluetooth speaker, and we have like compulsory grime. It's like it has to be sprinter music as well. And all the people I follow who are sprinters play exactly the same tracks.
I see why you like sprinting.
Yeah.
They're your kind of people, right?
Yeah.
The anarchists of the...
And show-offs, anarchists, introverts. You don't really like exercise.
Cool. That's that. I'd like to finish up on Neil Armstrong's cock-up.
Carry on talking. I want to be so factually correct on this.
Okay. I was intrigued. I've not heard of any kind of cock-up. So he was first man on the moon, right? Or is that the cock-up?
No. So
it wasn't him.
Yeah, he overslept.
I mean, this isn't exactly mailbag material, but we're light on.
Okay.
We're light on mail.
So I'm not going to go on the whole moon landings conspiracy.
Good,
I think
because it happened.
I'm not going.
Of course it happened. There's footage.
Okay, we're not going there. We're not going there.
They didn't have deep fake in the 90s. Oh.
Okay, so we're not going there.
What I didn't say in the last podcast, that there's deep fake, which is synthetic media, but there's also cheap fake.
Yeah.
Which...
If you were
to believe that the moon landing was staged in any way, that is probably, I don't know, the earliest form of, televisual cheap fake
mockery. I thought it was. I'm not going. We're not going into the moon landings. That's relieving that. I thought it was quite interesting that a couple of days after Pfizer had, launched
Saved the
their
world.
vaccine, which is still going to be revealed for the bollocks it is.
Oh, you don't want to go to the moon landing, but you go there.
I thought it was interesting that Russia have now come up with their own vaccine, and Pfizer is 90% efficient, and the Russians is 92%.
Nice.
And it's called Sputnik. And it's like, we're just going to recreate the race to the moon, and we're now 2% above you. So no, we're not.
I wonder them and Trump get on. My vaccine's tremendous. It's a tremendous vaccine.
It's the greatest one. It's 104% efficient. Brings people back from the dead, so it does. It's great. It's really great. It's not from China.
It's not bad. I thought, is he gonna?
I don't know if I'm going to go all the way.
It's
anyway.
good.
Two things. One was, did I mention the spacesuits?
In what capacity? We've covered invisibility.
The spacesuits for Apollo. It's 11, isn't it? The one that went.
I don't know.
Yeah, Apollo 11.
It didn't happen. So
the spacesuits were made by hand.
Mm.
I thought they'd be made in a facility, a big industrial facility that's making, really highly complex. They were made by seamstresses from Playtex, the bra and knicker manufacturer.
Cool.
And there was an interview that I watched of one of the women who was responsible, saying what a big responsible job it was, stitching all the bits of the spacesuits together. And I thought, that's lovely. I hadn't pictured that it was a group of women sitting in a small office. I would have thought...
It was a group of men?
No. I would have thought going to the moon and going through all the
Oh, you needed some kind of material that hadn't been invented yet. What are those?
Something from the future, rather than...
What's something that doesn't exist?
Yeah, I just imagine
we can't even do that now.
And one of the quotes from one of the women was, "I can remember once I left a needle in and I got a right telling off."
Yeah, right.
And I'm thinking, I again, no conspiracy theory.
The needle in as the last of you worries was space debris. Actually, there wasn't any space debris then, was there?
I think it's fairly high up, living a needle in. Anyway,
I'm just amazed that you're so kind of surprised that they didn't use some super tech. And this thing didn't even happen. I just find it incredible. You find even her story plausible. You believe this woman made the spacesuit?
No. What I'm saying is the story is that Playtex were given the contract to make the spacesuits.
I get that.
Yeah.
I just find that you even entertain anything to do with the moon landings or anything.
I'm just saying I find it.
Do you think people have gone into space?
Yes.
Right, and then don't you believe they've gone to the moon? Sorry, it's just bugging me a little bit.
So
why don't you think they landed on the moon?
I don't want to go into the conspiracy theory about the moon.
Why?
I don't want to.
This is like you in the 2 podcasts ago, which I haven't brought up, we started talking about cream and fats and sugars, right? And we started talking, it started getting a bit tasty, and you went, I don't want to talk about food.
Yeah, well,
we got to beans, you went, no, I don't want to talk about it.
This is the story of my life.
I want to I'm prodding the bear. Is this...
Poke.
I'm poking the bear. It's like, no, we can't just avoid the difficult
we
stuff.
Can.
This is the whole podcast.
This
is about not avoiding.
This is how my life runs. When I'm in control, it's fine. And then I lose control and I sulk and I pout and I disappear.
It's funny, though.
We're not going to them.
This is funny.
We're not.
Okay, right now. Okay, we're not going there now.
Okay, just to put you...
Can't promise I'm not going to go there
I'm just going to put you straight. One of the things that I question around that whole expedition was some of the aspects seem to be, if you were designing a moon landing, you would do it quite thoroughly. My idea would be I'd leave it to the last minute and go, shit, we need a spacesuit. Can you find someone? And I go, the people that made my mohair jumpers. No, that was in the 80s. They haven't been born. No, they have been born.
What's the most futuristic thing I can think of? A bra.
Yeah. So that's number one. I mean, obviously the spacesuits were impossible to get off. That's probably why they chose Playtex. That's so.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's like, oh shit, we'll need to take some photographs. What can we do? Get Kodak to give us a camera. It's like not design a special camera that's going to go to the moon.
What?
It's just basically
right. Okay, so just taking that logic, right,
and then take them down to Boots.
Taking that logic,
produced,
right? So they're going to make a camera. Let's create something that hasn't been invented yet, rather than going, these guys know all about cameras. Have you got a camera? Yeah, we've got one. We did blah, 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 a bit of development. Bosh, right? You're on a deadline. You're going to get to the moon by a certain time. You've got to beat the Russians. Got to beat the Russians, right? Off we go. Spacesuit. What are we going to make out of? Well, these guys are really good with material and stitching, and are probably know a bit about material. Why don't we go and use them? Oh, they make brass. Yeah, they're fine. They're the best in their field at that. No different. Why are you suspicious about them using Kodak? I'm not suspicious about them using Playtex.
No, I am suspicious of Playtex. I'm suspicious of the whole thing.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm being ironic. I'm going,
it's just a thing. I don't think it's good or bad. I have no idea where this is going.
WhatsApp video and WhatsApp calls rarely work. Yet we were sending people to the moon and the photography and the film that came back on these cameras that was perfect and brilliant. And you can't even get a WhatsApp call. Okay. This is the thing. Would you... Okay.
If anyone people can see your face right now.
Thank God
I've never seen you angry, actually.
Thank God I'm doing mindfulness.
I've just had that whole freaky...
Do I look angry now?
No.
Okay.
Well, but I just realised that I don't know what that would be like. And actually, what you do look like just before that happened. I got a little bit scared. Sorry.
Okay. So, would you agree? Let's just run with it that it happened. Question. Would you agree that the statement that Neil Armstrong made when he stepped on the moon was the most important statement, or the most important statement in the history of mankind?
Yeah.
Near enough.
Yeah.
Apart from Carry On Cleopatra, infamy.
I've all got it infamy.
Yeah. So if we're agreed that was quiz time, can you repeat slowly, and I'm not going to show you, see if you can remember what Mr. Armstrong said?
It's one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind.
Shit, I've just found a needle in my spacesuit. That was the next line. Help! Buzz!
Buzz Lightyear.
To the moon and beyond. So yeah, you were near enough perfect. Instead of it's that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Okay.
That's what he said.
He did. It wasn't what he planned to say. Is that right?
Correct. What is the difference between man and mankind?
Oh, well.
There isn't.
No.
So Neil Armstrong, who I believe had a chance to rehearse this, I'm guessing. I don't think what happened is he landed on the moon.
He had nothing on his mind. All he had to do was turn up at the studio.
Yeah.
Didn't he? And step out of
the teleprompter was down. So they said, quick, learn this, Neil. And he went, no, let Buzz do it. And they went, no, you're going first. And he went, well, what about the third person? And they went, what, the one we can't remember?
Oh, yeah, there wasn't there?
Yeah.
The poor sod back
Neil
in
Armstrong,
there.
Buzz Aldrin and...
Woody. Hold on.
So Neil Armstrong left a word out of the quote. That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. It changes the whole...
Doesn't it?
It's the difference between a single man. So leaving out the indefinite article a before the word man
of course.
changes it. Because if you say that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind...
It's all-inclusive, isn't it?
Well, they're both the same.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. When I asked you to say it, you said it how everyone thinks it's said. And so this is then when we get to the who said what. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the most famous quotes of all time. Armstrong himself has always insisted he said one small step for a man, not one small step for man. But it's interesting. This is why I asked you when you
can't hear it.
Yeah. So it says here, try and judge for yourself by listening to the recording. I don't know if we can play it here, whether it's going to work.
And just stick it next to
Most people hear for man. Assuming that Armstrong is correct in his claim, which is a reasonable assumption since he was the only one there. So it says here. And I love this.
the only one in his spacesuit.
Yeah. And by all accounts, an honest and trustworthy individual. The reason that most of us don't hear an A could be due to the combination of factors, including the noisy radio link.
Yeah.
And it could be.
It's a bit crackly, isn't it?
It could be. But it's interesting that our memory of it doesn't hear the A, which fundamentally changes it. And then this particular website that I've gone into, who are obviously big moon landing fans, say it could be the noisy radio link, the stressful situation for the speaker, although all the other words were audible, could have affected his speaking rate, and in particular his North American Midwest accent. I think they're sort of grabbing at grabbing straws, where evidently the A is naturally shortened.
Okay, do you want to play it? Hold it to the front of the...
To the front of what, the house?
No, shut up. That side, I was going to say.
Oh, well, the microphone that I'm speaking into?
Yeah, but not the back of it, like there, because it would be better at the front. That's what I'm saying. Jesus Christ.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
There's no...
Bad news, Neil. There wasn't even radio. We'll give it one more time.
There wasn't even room to get the word ah.
It's one small step for man.
Nah.
Nah.
That's it for this episode. Well done for getting this far, and thanks for listening. All links and references will be in our show notes. Please make sure you subscribe to us via your favourite podcasting app. And if you're enjoying this pod, then please do spread the word. Tell a friend, family member, nemesis, or whoever you feel would benefit from having us in their ears. Give us a follow on Instagram at I'mFinecast, and send your feedback and questions via our email to imfinecast@gmail.com. In the next episode, we take a look at wealth, attitudes towards wealth, and things we'd wish we'd known 20, 30...
Sometime
ago.
Do you know what I was about to do? I was about to shout out the answer. Like, when am I going to learn?
What, for that?
Yeah, I was going to...
I don't want to know now.
No, there's two words, and I was
can't
just about to shout them out.
You can't help yourself, can you?
No.
It's not a competition.
I'm still going to say them.
No,
when
don't.
You turn
We
this
can
off.
say it. I just won't play it. I want it to be a surprise.
Okay.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Sleep well.